One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when talking about their emotions is using the term stress and overwhelm interchangeably. They're constantly mixing these up and believing that they're the same thing. And here's the problem. If we don't use the correct word to describe how we're feeling, we can't address our emotions effectively. Mislabeling our feelings can lead to improper coping strategies, leaving us feeling stuck and unable to find the relief we need. So in today's episode, I'll help you understand the crucial difference between stress and overwhelm. By the end of this video, you'll have a new belief in your ability to identify and articulate these emotions accurately. All right, let's start off by talking about what stress is, and then we'll move on to overwhelm. As you know, I'm a big fan of keeping things simple. And the easiest definition of stress that I've come across is from psychologist Dr. David Rosmarin in his book Thriving with Anxiety. He gives us a simple equation to remember. Stress equals demands minus resources. So in other words, the amount of stress you feel depends on the demands being placed on you, minus the resources you have to deal with those demands. If the demands are higher than your resources, you'll feel stressed. It's as simple as that. And this idea makes a lot of sense when we think about it. Brene Brown, in her book Atlas of the Heart, explains it this way. We feel stressed when we evaluate environmental demands as beyond our ability to cope successfully. This involves elements of unpredictability, uncontrollability, and feeling overloaded. And we've all been there. Life is full of changes and challenges that force us to step up and take action. So, for example, you might be getting married or going through a divorce, having a child or losing a loved one. You might be getting a promotion at work or losing your job. Maybe you're dealing with a sick child or facing a new medical diagnosis yourself. When life throws us curveballs, it's like being caught in a stress storm. Our bodies tense up, our minds start to race, and suddenly, we feel like we're drowning in a sea of pressure. Remember, stress is the great equalizer. It doesn't discriminate on who we are or what we do. Whether we're a CEO or a stay-at-home parent, we all feel the weight of limited resources, things like time, money, and emotional strength. Now, let's talk about Brene Brown's take on stress a little bit more because she flips the script on what many of us have been believing for so long. We often think that the intensity of stress we experience is related to the degree of physical symptoms we have in our bodies, right? The shittier we feel, the more stressed we must be. But Brene Brown challenges this notion. She suggests that our emotions aren't just reactions to physical sensations, but are deeply influenced by our thoughts about our ability to cope through tough times. So essentially, the level of stress we experience isn't solely caused by how intensely our bodies are freaking out. Rather, our emotional intensity is more related to our cognitive assessment of whether we can cope with the challenges we face or the stressors we encounter. It's like there's a little voice inside your head asking, can I handle this? If that voice responds with doubt, like, nope, no way in hell, your emotions take notice and start paying attention. Eventually, your stress levels start to skyrocket because your emotional brain is echoing your thinking brain's uncertainty. So, what does this mean for us in our everyday lives? It means that how well we perceive our ability to cope with stressors directly impacts how stressed out we feel. Think about it. When you believe you've got what it takes to tackle a challenge, you feel more in control and more resilient. But when doubt creeps in, stress gets the upper hand. All right, now let's dive into overwhelm. The way I view overwhelm is that it is stress on steroids, or your SOS. Psychologist John Kabat-Zinn, who is the mastermind behind mindfulness-based stress reduction, paints a vivid picture of overwhelm. He says that overwhelm is the all too common feeling that our lives are somehow unfolding faster than the human nervous system and psyche are able to manage. Right? It's essentially that moment when everything feels like it's crashing down around you and you're just struggling to stay afloat in a sea of chaos. You're trying your best and you're giving it your all. But even the simplest tasks feel monumental. And the mere thought of adding anything else to your plate sends chills down your spine. It's as if life has hit the fast forward button and suddenly you're struggling to keep pace. And then, my friend, something happens. The symptoms intensify, both in your mind and in your body, until you reach a point where functioning feels impossible. It's like hitting rock bottom emotionally, and I call this emotional bankruptcy. During this time, your mental and physical reserves have been drained dry, leaving you running on empty. Your mind is a whirlwind of chaos, and your body feels like it's been put through the ringer. Every fiber of your being is screaming for relief, but you're not sure where to turn or how to find it. You're so far out of your window of tolerance that you lose your ability to function. This actually just happened to my aunt not too long ago after my uncle broke his foot. He had to get surgery, and the doctor said that he couldn't walk or even put pressure on his foot for over 6 weeks. Despite already juggling a full time job where she puts in 60 plus hours per week, she now had to single handedly manage all the housework while also caring for two young hyper puppies. Various family members would reach out asking what they could do to help. However, whenever someone would ask, my aunt seemed at a total loss for words. It was like her mind was a tangled web of tasks that she had to do, and she couldn't grasp a clear thought. Instead, she kept telling everyone that she just needed to go to bed and sleep for a day or two, and then she'd handle the situation. At first, everyone was like, okay, right? We all saw the demands being placed on her piling up, but now with a deeper understanding of overwhelm and its distinction from mere stress, her response makes perfect sense. Overwhelm isn't just about feeling stressed. It's when the weight of our responsibilities becomes so immense that it overwhelms our ability to think clearly and make decisions. And this concept is even supported by research. Neuroscientist and author of Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, Dr. Carolyn Leaf, talks about how when you're stressed and overwhelmed, your blood vessels contract instead of expand. And this constriction reduces the flow of blood and oxygen to the brain, which prevents it from functioning optimally. In addition to that, instead of your brainwaves flowing in a peaceful rhythm, they instead go into what she calls neurochemical chaos. Basically, what this means is that the brain's orderly flow of neural activity is thrown into disarray and it goes haywire. So, what does this mean for us? It means that the regions of the brain responsible for critical functions like decision making are thrown off balance. Instead of operating smoothly, they become overwhelmed and they struggle to perform their tasks effectively. All right, my friend, now that you know the difference between stress and overwhelm, I just want to leave you with three main takeaways from today's episode. Number one is that stress occurs when demands exceed our resources. Number two is that overwhelm is an extreme form of stress where we feel unable to function effectively. And number three is that both stress and overwhelm are directly linked to our perception of our ability to navigate challenging situations. Therefore, it's crucial to remember that the mental stories we tell ourselves about our ability to cope greatly influences our emotional experiences. Now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you found value in this video and you want to keep expanding your emotional intelligence. We've got plenty more content coming your way that will dive deep into the other emotions and help you deepen your understanding. And if you're ready to take your emotional intelligence to the next level, be sure to click the link in the description to join the Crush Anxiety newsletter. In these newsletters, I'll be breaking down emotions, providing tips on how to better manage your mind, and sharing insights from the top thought leaders in the field of anxiety. Talk soon, my friend. Until then, keep kicking ass and crushing it.